everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this mat class. We are doing a reformer class made into a mat class. So if you don't have access to traditional equipment like the reformer for Pilates, we've made some of these exercises accessible for you, and we're just going to use a elastic band to simulate some of the spring tension today. So get elastic band for this class. And we have Corey here, who is going to be taking the class with you. And we're going to get started together. We'll do a couple of stretches. So just bring your feet hip width apart. Make sure your band is somewhere nearby. We'll start with your arms nice and lengthened by your sides. And let's just take a couple breaths, sweeping your arms up as you take a nice inhale. We're going to do this just so you can start to feel a little more stretching in your body, a little more lengthening, and start to notice if anything's tight talking to you. We'll do a couple more breaths in as you go up. Helps just naturally extend through your back, through your lungs. And this next one, at the top, hold it. Just for a moment, feel your fingertips really reaching up, your heels really reaching down, and that length in your spine that's as a result. Keep the length in your spine. Let's take your hands behind your head, and we'll start with a little side bend. Up and over to one side and to the other. This would be a great exercise to get warming a little bit through your obliques, but also noticing one side is tighter than the other. I'm gonna have Corey pull her ribs in just a little there, and now go. So it's just gonna help release your back so your back isn't doing too much work as well. We have a nice inhale over, exhale drawing up, and to the other side, inhale. And exhale, you also want to keep your feet nice and anchored down. So as we go to one side, you're not shifting your hips, you're not lifting that heel. One more to even out your sides. And come up center. Let's get a little rotation going as well. So now we'll twist to one side and then back center and twist. And you'll think of your hips staying straight forward on these rotations. And center and rotate. And center, just kind of check your range. One more. Evening out your sides. After your two sides are nice and even, I'll have you come center. Let's go right into what would be footwork on your reformer. We're going to make this footwork happen with your band today. So if you step on your mat, or not your mat, your band, bring the ball of your foot right into the center of the band. So your heels will be actually off the back. It's important you start out flat so it doesn't roll on you. Once you're there, we'll grab on, and you can choke up on your band to give yourself more or a little less resistance. The more times you wrap your hands, the tighter it's gonna get. The less times you wrap, a little less resistance. So we're just starting with the knee bend here. Try and keep your heels down, feet nice and parallel. And I love where Corey's feet are at. They're just like in line with her sits bone, so pretty narrow. She'll bend her knees, and as she comes up, she's just got a little resistance from her band. She can keep her arms straight, but it's just naturally gonna get tighter as she lifts her body higher. And up. I'm gonna have her lift a little those lower abs, good, especially as she straightens her knees. Beautiful, inhale. Exhale, stretch out. And inhale. And exhale. Just getting the larger muscle groups warm towards the beginning of the session is going to get everything else heating up a little bit quicker than if we started with much smaller movements. Let's go one more. And on this one, she'll straighten out her knees and then rise up to her toes. So this is going to be a balance, and you want your heels right in the center, so you're not rolling out to your little toes, you're not rolling into your big toes. Find really good alignment, and we'll go again, keeping the heels up, bend your knees. And press up. I'm gonna come behind Corey so you can see if I made little fists, her heels aren't lifting or dropping. Bend. And press. This is gonna give you a lot more bang for your buck. You get your thighs working, your quads working, your heels working. Let's do a couple more. And up. And then she's got her heels towards each other, knees opening a little wider. And since we did that one, let's go more parallel now, knees tracking straight forward, and stretch. So one, if you did one with your feet parallel, move into that little V, so knees are now over toes. Make sure you get both. It's gonna just give you a little more inner thighs and more on one, more quadriceps on the other. It starts to get a little more intense in the shins, the calves, trying to keep this. I can hear something's popping, hopefully it's like the good pop, loosening up. And last one on the toes here. We'll stretch your knees, lower your heels down, and then just like a calf raise, let your heels come up and lower down. And the knees can, stay straight for this next set. So just the calves. And up. This is a good time. Feel the weight distribution across your toes. Nice and even, not too much weight on our little toes. You could also think of your ankle bones reaching a little bit in towards each other. Nice. And coming down nice and light. So that's first stretch we had where you lifted your body nice and tall as you come down. It's going to help you from feeling every time like you're having to reset at the bottom. From here, we'll go into a prance. So we'll come up to both toes, bend one knee, drop the other heel, and switch. We'll take an inhale, both sides, and an exhale. Both sides, breathe in for 2, breathe out for 2. You can already start to feel our shoulders kind of opening while we're here for so long. And an inhale. And an exhale. I love the prances on the Reformer. This is not quite as satisfying because we can't go as low with our heels without floor blocking, but it's still going to help get ourselves coordinating and a great chance to look at our palms so that we don't start to go to the luau. And 2 more each side. Good. And 1 more each side. And then let's finish with both feet up. Lower the heels down. And we'll do a couple single legs. So you can stay 1 foot right underneath your sit bone. Lift your other leg up and find about as close as you can get to your thigh. Nice and parallel to the floor. That shin, nice and perpendicular. And we'll try and do the same thing. Bend the knee. You can stay on the flat foot. Yes. And press up. Bend. And press. Now our base of support is much narrower. So it's going to also be great for balance work, which we want to start feeding into our workouts, especially as we get older. Your balance, because of your equilibrium in your ear, it gets a little bit more challenging unless we practice it. So feed it into your workouts whenever you get the chance. Nice, we're getting stronger with each one. Let's go ahead last time. And at the top, switch your legs out. Make sure you flatten out that band. Find yourself nice and strong on your supporting leg. Then float the other leg up. How you get into it will help determine how successful it will be. And bend and press. And it's great to notice if one hip's hiking up towards your shoulder. Corey's doing a really nice job maintaining level hips. Also looking at her ribs. Nice. She kept that cue from much earlier. Let her back stay nice and straight. And she could probably open those shoulders a little, or palms face in can help. Yes, give us a little bit more external rotation. And we'll just do 3 and 2. Just making it look easy. 1. And you probably feel that it's not. Take the other foot down. And we're going to just take the band to the side for now so you can unwrap. Set it down on your mat and we'll work your way to the mat. Band will be nearby, but we're not going to use it quite for a moment. Okay, so her feet will swing around in front. Let's lay down onto your backs for some abdominal work. Now that a little more of that body heat is building, everything's been stabilizing, let's hit up the abdominals. So starting first, get your back in a nice neutral position. There might be like a small little space under your lower back so that you have that natural curve, looking that the pelvis is nice and flat, that the ribs are also relaxed. Let's take one leg up, tabletop, Bring your other leg up to tabletop and zip your legs. And I'm really striving for knees right over hips and shins parallel to the floor. Our setup always is going to determine if your knees float too far away. Go ahead, if you do it, you feel it wear right in your back. If they come in too close, you probably feel your hip flexors and your back smashing down. So get that alignment. And float your arms up overhead, palms up to the ceiling, which is going to help, again, keep your chest nice and open. And I might get cute, even if you have to have your hands just loaded, let those ribs settle. Breathe in. Exhale, press your arms, head, neck, chest up, and really reach your fingertips away. Arms will lift first, keeping the head, the chest, and then everything can follow out. Exhale, press and curl, reach. And you don't need to come much higher than like the back of your ribs really touching. So we want to keep the hip flexors as much out of the chest lift part as we can. Exhale, press and curl. Good. You're thinking about drawing your ribs down towards the floor. They're pulling away and reaching out. Exhale, press, curl. And up. I'm going to bring your knees a little closer. And exhale, press. Draw those ribs down. Good. And a little less shoulders next. And arms. And then lower. And we'll go 3 more. Exhaling up. Getting those arms right in line with your shoulders. Inhale, lift. Set it down for 2. And up. This is a great preparation exercise for what's coming next. Last one, our abs come into that contraction. And then they lengthen as we lower back down. This time you're gonna hold it up. We're adding your legs, big breath in. Exhale, press arms and chest up. Hold this position. I'm gonna have your arms start right in line with your shoulders. Big inhale. Exhale, pump your arms. Let's pump. 2, 3, 4, 5. And inhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. And exhale. And inhale. And keep your gaze right over your knees. Exhale. Inhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. And exhale. It's like you're dribbling little basketballs. And exhale. And exhale. I love that Grace keeping her trunk so still. She's not bouncing around. She's looking good. This is where if you start to feel your back arching, just take your legs a little higher. It's going to make that back get out of the work. And let's go just a couple more breath cycles. Good. I love she got a little more height. It's hard work here. And let's do 1 more breath out. And in. And then she'll take a pause. Knees will pull in. Arms will lift. She's working a little higher. And then lower down. Awesome. You can keep your feet right where they're at in tabletop. But grab your band. You might need to, I guess, set your feet down because you're grabbing your own band. But Gloria here has a helper. So we'll take them around your feet, the band, and make sure again, just like when you're standing, nice and flat, so that you have, it's not going to slide on you. You have a little more surface area to push against. She's wrapped it around her hands so she doesn't feel like it's going to drop on her. And we'll start with your elbows in by your sides, but your forearms a little open. So we're externally rotated in your shoulders using your rotator cuff, which makes this a nice position to hold for a lot of us who run forward all day long. But also, it's going to make your band wide enough that we can open your knees into a frog position. So I'm still looking that the knees are right over the hips, but now they're just a little bit further apart, and so are the toes. So heels together, toes and knees are apart. In this position, we're going to think of our feet moving out on a conveyor belt. Exhale, press your heels away. And inhale, bend is going to take a lot of control to stop and not go too far because that band wants to help you. Exhale, press out. Inhale. And I think of my heels like they're sliding that tabletop, that conveyor belt, and in. Corey's leg work looks so clean, so precise. Check in with your core as well. As your legs go further away, it might be tempting to arch your back and follow the weight of your legs. We have to watch that we don't go there. And also, for those of you who are overcorrectors, you might want to really tuck your hips and smash your low back down. Let's try and just stay neutral. And we'll go out 3 more times. And bending. Corey's looking great. She's got a lot of tension. You can always adjust your tension on your band just by how many times, again, you have it wrapped. If you start to feel like, whoa, my hands are getting the workout. And was that their third? I think it was our third. Let's stretch your legs up to the ceiling. And this will be like a circle that you might do feet and straps on the reformer, but we don't have straps, so we'll go down here. Just externally rotate your legs. So go to that V. Lift your legs back up and then close back to parallel. And imagine that's coming really from your hip joint, even though your feet are the visual. We're actually working those rotators in your hips. And parallel. And we'll lower. Good abdominal work to control again here. And lift. How low you go is going to be based on how far you can control. You really don't need to go much lower than 45 degrees. But even if it's a little smaller, it's totally okay. Let's go 1 more this direction. And open and lift up. And then let's reverse. Now we'll go V on the way down. Close to parallel, lift up. And externally, it's the hips really spiraling. Inner thighs up to the ceiling. And then they roll back in on the way up with your legs. And lower. And parallel lift. And we'll take 2 more, externally rotate down. And inhale, lift. I'm still loving the control of seeing in the trunk. And down. This is our second one. Let's hold it at the bottom. We'll stay in a V. And now this is where you get to work those little outer thighs. Open your legs, squeeze in, and open, and squeeze. I'm gonna have it nice and slow, and in. It's not a big range, but you get a little separation, and then the inner thighs pull back together. And she's chosen a nice low angle. Maybe your feet aren't that low, but again, base it off your trunk. If you feel that arch too big, we'll make it a little smaller. Or a little higher. And let's go just 3. And squeeze, dig your heels together. 2. And a squeeze, last 1. And squeeze, bend your knees. Bring them back in. We can carefully take this band out. Give your hands a second to stretch out. And relaxing through that body, we'll set 1 foot down. Set the other foot down. Now let's go into a pelvic curl. We get our spinal articulation in. We're starting from that nice neutral position. Just let your shoulders relax, your ribs, and that tailbone. Inhale. And exhale, scoop, and then roll up. But we don't want to go so high that it ends up arching in your back. And exhale, roll down. And I saw, just of course, I want your feet a little further apart. So we'll go back to that inner hip width, but still separate. And come up, rolling through. And exhale, think of sinking like 1 vertebrae at a time on the way down and back to neutral. Good, exhale, drop in and lift with your legs rolling up. Beautiful straight line. And roll down. Good. And this is just gonna get your back releasing. Still some good leg work, which now they're kind of warmer from that band, so they can assist the stretch of your back a little more. And let's go just 2 more, drawing in, rolling up, and drawing in, rolling down. Last one. Exhale, coordinate the breath. It's just gonna enhance the movement. And roll down. Good. From here, grab behind your legs and just pull yourself up to a seated position. And we're going into a hamstring stretch. You can come onto your shins and we'll face towards the short edge of your mat. Good. So we'll go knees right under hips, hands right under shoulders, and then let's step one leg forward between your hands. And we'll come into like a runner's lunge, something that we might have seen before. But technique, let's get it far forward enough that your knee can start right over your ankle. And this back leg, again, can be a little further behind you if you're more flexible, a little closer. But we want to really set this front knee over the ankle. Once you're there, you can walk your hands up your thigh if you want a deeper stretch, which is just going to enhance the back leg. You can really think of biasing a little towards a posterior tilt or like a tucked position, which is going to give more stretch in the front of your back legs, hip flexors. We'll just hold for a couple of breaths here. Give yourself some time. Your muscles will stretch more effectively when you relax than when they're tight. So your breathing can be a great way to help you relax. On your next exhale, let's walk your hands back down to the floor. We're going to try and stay flat in our back as we shift our hips, flexing our front foot, and going into more of a hamstring stretch now for the front leg. And we're thinking of, really reaching our chest forward. Even if we're not fully straight in this front knee, prioritize a little more flattening through here. And if you're not achieving this perfectly flat back, that's okay, but I want to feel that your extensors are working, your back extensors are engaged. Couple of breaths here. This one, if you think of more almost trying to flip your pelvis forward into an anterior tilt, more of an arch, is going to also enhance the hamstring stretch. Let's come back forward. We'll do each one more time. So you're welcome to walk up your thigh again. If you want to get a little deeper into the hip flexor stretch. Lori's very flexible in her hip flexors, but I like that she's not sinking down. She's still lifting up. And then you can hold 1 to 3 breaths. We'll go for that third breath. As you exhale, take your hands down to the ground. And then we'll shift back, keeping the back flat. That's it. Nice. And then flexing through your front foot. You can just allow your head to also stay right in line with the rest of your spine. We're just driving straight through our back, as stretched as we can through our hamstring. And let's glide forward and shift so that the front leg now comes to meet your back leg. Get your back leg now to meet your front leg. And let's walk back up your thigh. Again, if you did it on the first side, if it's too deep, you can always stay with your hands on the ground. But let's make sure you're aligned with that knee over your ankle. We always want to make sure we're protecting our joints. And your rule of thumb, if you stack a bone on bone, alignment is going to be better than if they're not aligned. I'm going to relax this back foot too a little so that it's not rolling in. Let's take your hands down to the ground. And again, flatten out. That's what makes it so hard. If you just round and go back, maybe you can go further. But you might not be getting it actually truly just in the hamstrings. Other things might want to help. I'm going to lower your head just a hair. She's looking good. Let's bend, come back to your hip flexor stretch. Walk your hands up your thigh. And we're back to this nice stretch here. And again, think of lifting up with the abs. It's also your hamstrings can pull down the backside of your pelvis. So we're really biasing towards that posterior tilt. It's going to make a deeper stretch in the front of your back leg. And then after your third breath, we'll use the exhale to walk your hands down. And you can even use your arms to help kind of press into the mat. We'll go into the hamstring stretch one more time. There we go. And flexing through the front ankles. Yeah, I'm going to make it a little deeper. And let's hand you back forward. And now, hands down, bring your front leg to your back leg. You might need to make a little adjustment here to come back to true quadruped. So hips right over knees, shoulders right over wrists. This exercise is going to be about trunk stability and freedom in your hip. I want you to imagine a pendulum. That's what we want your hip joint to be doing. So we'll draw in your abs round through your lower back so you're maxing out this stretch here. And then we'll take your one leg straight behind you. Don't change that nice rounding in your back. Think of the abs still lifting up. Pull that knee forward on your exhale and slide it back. Inhale, stay around. Exhale, pull. Inhale, slide and pull and slide. So you're really thinking of the ab wrapping up. That's what's really holding the shape of your spine. And pull and stretch and I think pull. Like you're moving through peanut butter. It's not easy to come forward. Got a little resistance. But the hip is moving all by itself. Nothing else changing. And pull. And back one more. Pull. And slide it back. Hold it. Let's come into a flat back now. Still think the abs in the back nice and straight. Same thing. Draw the knee in. And back. Slide in. And back. We love that Corey's hips aren't back on vacation again in Hawaii. There's no luau's. She's got this nice square pelvis. And exhale, pull. And inhale. I always go back to Hawaii. I always want to go back. So my cueing. Maybe you've heard it before. We've got two more. Pull in and back. Last one. Pull in and back. Great. Set your knee down. We're in a good position again, but we got to go round for the first one on the second leg. So round that back. I love her upper back, her head, her tail. They're all responding to that round, but they're not overbearing. So this is really the star of the show. Send your back or your other leg back now. Exhale, draw it in and back, and draw it in and back. And I just have my hand under. I'm not feeling her abs push me. If anything, they're pulling away from my hand. So they're pushing towards this top side. Exhale, pull, inhale, stretch, and pull, and stretch, and 3 more. And 2, a little more round, and 1, that's it. And stretch, come into a flat back now. And pull it in again. Exhale, pull, inhale, and pull, inhale, exhale, in. And your abs really try to co-contract with your back. Both sides working. This is amazing to help you get your legs moving without your back always having to get involved. Everything else stable. And again, just 2 more. Pull and back. Last one. Pull and back. Bend your knees. You can just take a quick little rest pose on your heels. Get some weight off of your arms since we've been there for a minute. If you want to do a wrist stretch, you're welcome to. Sometimes the fingers toward you, palms up, or the fingers toward you, palms down. Both can stretch your wrists out nice. From here, let's swing your legs around in front of you. And we'll still face side on your mat. So you can bring your feet here. And we'll do a couple side tilts and twists. So working a little bit more into our obliques. We'll lift up nice and straight. Her hands are behind her head. And we're going to start with a flat hinge And then as we exhale, we'll lift up. And it's gonna be a very small range of motion. So again, that co-contraction you just felt on all fours, let's try and feel it here. And keep your head back a little bit, yes. For yourself, if you go far and you notice your chin dropping, you might be going in a range that's too far back. And it's not gonna be very big because you're already starting with such flexed hips here. And exhale, inhale back, and exhale. A little more back extensors. Inhale, and back. Last one, inhale, and back. At the top, let's take that side tilt again, like we did standing. And lift up. Your goal is not to pedal your knees. Keep everything in your legs sit together. And go over. And inhale, over. Exhale, lift. And over. And lift. And over. And up. Let's go rotation now. So stay nice and lifted. You'll twist a little further center. Twist a little further center. Try and keep your chin right in line with your sternum. So it's not twisting from the head. That's it. Now it's beautiful. It's twisting from the waist. And twist. Boom. A little further. And boom. A little further. Keep the chin in line with the sternum. And the sternum. One more each side. Twist. And twist. And come back center. Round 2 for the abs. Let's give them a break. Grab your band. We'll do some arm work. So you'll take the band again, nice and flat. Always kind of keep it as spread as you can. And we'll place it around your feet. You'll send your legs out in front of you. And you can probably grab the band between your thumb, your index finger, and then wrap it however many times you need so it's the appropriate tension for you. We'll start with your arms down by your sides. Palms will face back. Lifting up tall. This is one of the most challenging parts of this exercise is getting that back nice and straight. We'll exhale. Press your arms behind. Inhale forward. And we're not going all the way forward. Think your goal is maybe like 20 or 30 degrees in front of your hips. And then we're shooting for that same range back. Good. And exhale back. And forward. And nice and slow. You want to feel your muscles cry. And back. And forward. Let's go just 3. Inhale forward. And 2. Inhale forward. And last one. And forward. Point your feet before this next one so your band doesn't slide up. We'll take your arms out in front of you, right in line with your shoulders. And this will be for a bicep curl. So we'll get your elbows at shoulder height. Again, lift your back up. Good. Bend your arms. Keep the elbows the same height. Inhale. Exhale. Bend. Inhale. Keeping the elbows at the same height is just to ensure that your shoulders aren't actually trying to help your biceps out. So it's really isolating. I love using a band because in mat class, we don't have a lot of arm-oriented exercises. It's a lot of core focus. So using a prop like the band can give you a chance to get a little additional arm work in. And keeping the wrists nice and straight. I always watch for the revving wrists. Yes. Or all like we'll go there. Our bodies, we don't even think about it. Your body will always find the path of least resistance for yourself. Let's do one more bicep curl. Relax your shoulders down. Good. And now flip the palms to face down, and we'll do a rhomboid. Elbows will pull back and extend. Now your goal, get your elbows right to 90 degrees. Yep, so that again, now as your biceps are done, they don't need to help again. Just think the back of the shoulder and extend. So we're working this posterior deltoid. which is the back of the shoulder. Boom. And so your forearms might feel a little wider at the back part. And we're also watching that we don't drop the elbows. We're trying to keep them the same height. Now that she's doing it so nicely from her shoulder, if she's been doing rhomboids for a while, if you've been doing rhomboids for a while, you can add a little squeeze at the back. So go here, squeeze the shoulder blades towards your spine, towards each other. Release the shoulder blades, release the arms. So we'll go back of the shoulder, and between your shoulder blades, release the shoulder blades, release the arms. And boom, and squeeze, and release. And back, and just keep the forearms a little wider, even as you do the shoulder blades. There. It's gonna give you more resistance from your band. And let's go. Boom. That's it. Last one. We'll go out and squeeze and forward and change of the band. You can let it go and bring it underneath so you will sit on it. Just scoot you back a little onto that. This one will work best if the band is between your arm and your body. So don't hook the band running over your shoulders. Just how Corey has it is perfect. 2 more where we're sitting up. Any point, if your hip flexors are causing you to really slouch, you can just soften your knees a little bit. But try and keep the trunk nice and straight. If you don't need it, you're good. But if you need it at home, that's there for you. This one, let's go arms out to a T. And we'll close arms just shoulder width apart. And inhale, open. And there might be just the slightest little micro bend in the elbow. Just enough that you feel your bicep is engaged, but really trying to access your pecs. And inhale, I'm gonna have you move a little forward, good. And as your arms come forward, it's gonna be natural for your back to want to sink backwards. So think of still lifting. And I'm really paying attention to the shoulder blades that they're not moving here. She's keeping her shoulder blades nice and stable. That's going to show that the back is supporting the arms. We'll go 2 more. And beautiful. 1 more. Like this, she's continuing this pacing. Then from here, last arm exercise, take your thumbs right to your temples. Fingers will face forward. I call this one salute. So you take your arms on a diagonal front. And inhale, bend. Elbows are wide, but the fingers are forward like they're on little railroad tracks. And that's where we're gonna go out. They stay on their tracks. They come back in. And this is triceps. And in. Exhale. I think of my elbows almost like they're trying to draw towards each other as I reach forward. And bend. And let's just stay 3. Inhale back. Lift up that trunk. Good. 2. Thumbs right towards your temples. Last one. And reach. And in long arm series, you did awesome. Take that band away. We're only going to use it 1 more time. So for this next one, you can set your band to the side and let's roll to your side. So you face that way. There, you can stay up for this first one. We'll bring your shin and your other shin. So this one parallel to the edge of your mat. Your back leg is kind of parallel to the short edge of your mat. This is a mermaid stretch. We do this on the reformer. It can be choreographically challenging. So take your time. It's not going to be exerting for your muscles, but maybe your brain. We'll take this hand down to your shin. And think of your body like a plank. You just are going to tip it, keeping your back nice and straight. So we slide this hand out on your mat. Ease that pressure. She's still nice and straight through her body. And this arm at the same time is going to float up. I'll keep that palm facing down. So you're in almost like a little side plank. Rotate your trunk, sweep that arm to meet your other hand. You get a nice stretch for your back, for your side here. And then we'll sweep the arm on the diagonal to come back, head in line, and then lift your trunk up. You gotta use these bottom obliques so that hand doesn't, especially if you have a sticky mat. And we'll go slide up, tilt, and the head can tilt with that arm just to the T. And rotate, we'll get it on the way back. And sweep the arm T. And lifting up with the obliques. And inhale, sliding up. Good, relax the shoulder. Yes, and rotate, wrapping from your obliques again. It's almost like your arm is just an extension of your obliques. And come back. That's nice. And lift up. This last one will stay down for a nice stretch. So you can slide out, rotate, and then just take your body a little lower. Give yourself a stretch. You might feel this in your hip, your back. Take a couple breaths, which feel really nice. Great place again. Notice if your shoulders are wanting to help. And last one. We'll get out of it the same way we got into it. We'll take that sweep across, lift ourselves back up, and now lay onto that same side. Before we do the other side, let's add a little glute work while we're here. So lay down. We'll keep this knee right where it is. It's bent at 90 degrees in the hip and the knee in front of you. And your top leg is going to float up so it's hip height. And Corey's got really nice stacked hips. I love that. Keep them stacked the whole time. This top shoulder can relax, but you can feel free to use that arm for stability, your hand. And then this bottom arm, palm up. We'll start with just a lift up. So from the glute up, inhale, lower leg down. What I'm looking for, that her waist isn't moving, that it's really your glute. And she's got a relaxed foot on purpose. We want that foot to be like, think of like a floppy fish. It's not going to point, not going to flex, but what it is going to do is help bring your outer glute into one of its functions, which is slightly internally rotating your leg, so that thinking of it like a lead weight on the end is going to make your glute work more profound. And we'll go up. Inhale down. And I think for you, we could go even a little more behind. So come back towards this line there. And up and down. Exhale, lift. Inhale. And we'll go 4. And up 3. Exhale, lift 2. And up on 1. Come just to hip height on the way down. Now we'll take your leg forward. Lift, lower, slide back, and go forward. Lift, lower, slide back. So she's coming forward so that her thighs are about one on top of the other. Lower and back. She's trying really hard to keep her trunk still. And down and back. I can use the breath. Exhale, lift, inhale, lower, return if you want. Exhale and lift. Inhale and return, and 2 more. Front, lift, and down, return. This one will go front, lift, down, stay there. Relax that foot even more. Little drops, but a little faster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Again. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Last 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woo! Hopefully you feel your glute burn. Bend your knee and give it a quick second to stretch. I want to even out that outside work, so we'll straighten out your bottom leg. The leg you just were working, bring it in front of you. And you can grab onto your ankle. You can also try and push your knee out. We're going for as close to perpendicular with your shin as you can get. Everybody's body's a little different, but that's your intention. Straighten this bottom leg. Good, and we'll lift your bottom leg, little inner thigh work. Up and down. Let's go big range. Up and down. Nice. And lift. And down. And it's nice because it gives you this outer seat stretch that you were just working on that side. So now it gets to be stretching while you work the other leg. One of the reasons I love this series. And down. And this one is not adapted from the Reformer, but it's a good mat series that we also could do with ankle weights if you ever just want to be working, isolating your glutes. I'm going to keep encouraging that leg a little further back again. Yes. And up and down. Let's do one more. Hold it at the top. See if you can inch one more little lift. One more little lift. And lower it down. Nice. From here, you can come out of it. We'll come up to seated. Swing your feet to the other side. And we'll go back to our mermaid. So our mermaid, we've adapted for the mat. I'm wondering if this will be in your way. I'm just going to move it for you. Okay, relaxing. This hand by the fingertips to the mat. This hand right by your shin. And we'll start with the straight body. Remember, it's a tilt. So we hinge over. Your bottom hip, or the back leg hip is going to come off the mat. That's totally okay. We can go into that nice hinge. From here, sweep the arm around and rotate your trunk. Inhale, we'll sweep it back. And then lift up. And again, nice hinge. Exhale, sweep. That's really initiating our rotators. Inhale, let's take it back, open. And lift up. And again. So it gives yourself a second to kind of bring the intensity down. But the coordination does make it a lot more of an intermediate exercise. Sweep it back. And some of the others, the side coordination, really nice, Corey. We'll go into our stretch. Hinge. And rotate. And just stay there for a moment. You can feel your back. This back knee, try and keep it down. Make this stretch a little better across your hip, also your waist. You can draw a big breath out and let your shoulders melt away from your ears. And then let's come back into the sweep. Lift yourself up. And now we'll go into the glute work on side two. So you can lay all the way down. We'll keep the bottom leg bent and just keep this top leg straight. There it is. And lay onto that. I'm just going to move this mat or this band for now so you can straighten out. Good. And we'll bring your bottom leg 90 degrees to the hip joint and 90 at the knee. And I love that you can have this hand really close to your chest like Corey, push into it so that you're not going to feel wobbly in your trunk. We don't want your trunk to move. This is all for your outer glutes. So float your leg out. Let your foot just dangle like that little leaded weight. And we'll go up. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. And exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. I'm not sure. I know that we did a lot of that sitting work, so I'm wondering if Corey's a little tight because her leg wants to come forward. Check if that's you too. Think of a nice straight line across the front. So your hip flexors, that bend your leg forward. Don't try to work instead of your glutes. That looks great. And inhale. Exhale, lift. And inhale. And up. She's doing a nice job keeping still here. So we're really isolating our outer glutes. And we'll do one more. And then we'll take the leg forward. Come back to that hip height. Here we go forward. Up, down, and back. We slide forward. Up, down, and back. So it's the same muscle group we're targeting, but you're going to be feeling it work a little different angle because your leg's in a different place in space. Good. Down and back and forward. Lift, lower, and back. Exhale to the front. Lift, lower, and back, and forward. Lift, lower, and back. Let's take it all the way forward. Hold it here. And little drops. Go drop. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Again. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Last 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bend your knee. Woo, a little relief. Stretch out your bottom leg. And let's now get that side you just worked, get a stretch. We'll plant your foot in front. You can grab on, you could also push. Or if you don't need it, you can have your hands still right where it was. We'll stretch out our bottom leg more and lift your inner thigh up. Inhale down, exhale, lift. And down, so we're evening out. Always want to bring balance. Your workout should balance out inside, outsides, fronts, backs, rights, lefts. So you get a nice full body workout. And beautiful. Love that you're staying nice and straight through your body. This leg not as tempted to come forward either, which is good. Just feeling the length across the front. And exhale, lift. And lower up just 3 more times. We'll hold that third one. So think out with the toes. Maybe you're making a little bigger arc. This one at the top, stay. See if we can inch it up. One more little piece. One more time. And nice to lower down. Let's come onto your stomach, space. Chest down towards the ground. You can find your band one more time. And this is coming in your hands now. So you can just grab the band, maybe about shoulder width apart. And send your arms out in front of you. Legs zip together. And what we're looking for is that your back is not arching excessively. So you want to draw your abs up. You can feel that length in your tailbone out. And our upper back will engage when your arms float up a little off the mat. So imagine your arms are right in with, or framing your ears between your arms. And from here, bend your elbows wide and reach your arms overhead. This should be a lot of upper back work. And bend. And I love that where you keep your head in line with your spine. She's relaxed in her legs and her glutes, which also is going to encourage her lower back not to be on. And focus on more of that mid back, that upper back. Exhale, pull. Inhale, reach. She's doing nice. This is great for your shoulders, the back side. We do a lot in front, but we don't get our arms up at that full range very often. If you don't do it often, you'll slowly start to lose some range of motion. So she's doing great here. I'll have her do just one more. And exhale, pull. This is kind of similar to like your breaststroke prep on the Reformer when you're laying on a long box. We'll have you let go. The next one will be a lot like another breaststroke prep that we do, but on the mat it'll look like our swan dive. So take your hands on your shoulders, let your elbows come down to the mat. So your forearms are touching. And now as she presses through her arms, her back will actually lift. So we have that back engaging. Now she can let it actually work in more extension. As you lower down, let's let your feet fly up. So bend your arms, lower your chest and legs like a little rock. And inhale, let's press up. Drawing the shoulders down. And as you lower, come into those forearms, legs just gently hovering up. And up again, press and lift. Good, your eyes straight forward. If you have this much height, eyes on the horizon is just a great place to keep your head in line with your spine. If you're not coming up as high, you don't have to get to a full straight arm. Just as far as you feel that curve in your back, nice and even, or you're not dumping into just one part of your spine. Good, and let's do one last one. Up. And then lowering down. And you just finished your last exercise. Let's bring your legs together. Push yourself into a rest position. You can stretch out. Have a seat good on your heels. Let your back stretch. Couple nice deep breaths here. You can just imagine your lower vertebrae spreading apart. Tailbone nice and heavy. And as you are ready, gently roll yourself up. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, Clark, for being such an awesome model for us today. If you love the Reformer and want to know how you can make it into a mat workout, check out this video. I hope that you had fun with it and found some good resistance work from your band.